Welcome back to The Narrative. Joining me now is the Honorable Asot Michael of Antigua and Barbuda. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Well, you are currently in a bit of a battle in Antigua. There, you're a member of the Antigua Barbuda Labour Party. You're an MP. You have been in the cabinet. You have been fired from the cabinet twice by Prime Minister Gaston Browne, and now you have some court matters. But you received a letter from the General Secretary of the party recently, barring you as a sitting MP from attending a meeting of the party, the executive of the party. What did that letter say?
Well, the letter told me that I was not allowed to attend the Central Executive meeting that they were having last Friday at 46 North Street at the headquarters of the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party. And should I attend the meeting, that I would be escorted out by law enforcement officers and I should be guided accordingly.
So, what was your reaction upon receiving such a letter from the GenSec?
Well, I immediately wrote back and I told the General Secretary that I was astonished that I would be barred from attending such a meeting, that I'm a sitting member of the House of Representatives of the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party, and that I represent the people of St. Peter's, and that there was no basis or justification to bar me from attending any meetings of the Central Executive. There's a constitution of the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party, and that I was entitled at all times to represent, and I had an obligation to attend those meetings and to represent the views of my constituents at the executive meetings, because the Constitution entitles all sitting MPs of the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party. I ran on the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party not once, but 4 consecutive elections, starting in 2004, then in 2008, 2009, 2014, and then 2018. And I won in each general election convincingly and overwhelmingly. And I had a duty and responsibility under the Constitution, the revised Constitution of the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party, to attend all central executive meetings and such forth.
And so, did you attend the meeting? Did you still attempt to attend?
No, I did not attend the meeting. In fact, I did not even know about the meetings. The Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party have not held meetings, central executive meetings, for quite some time, for at least 18 months or more, due to COVID. And even before COVID, they were not having any central executive meetings. So I was not even aware that they were having any meetings.
And
so I was really taken.
So what will you do now?
In terms of attending meetings?
Well, in terms of your engagement with the party?
Well, my attorneys have written to the General Secretary, and my attorneys have clearly told them that what they've done is unconstitutional, and we have an injunction that was granted to me in terms of going back to the tribunal that they wanted to discipline me back in October of last year. And I pointed that out to the General Secretary in my letter that I wrote to her on the 23rd of October, where I said to her that the party was founded that we are all members in an organization, and I would quote where I said, formed to champion the rights of the ordinary men and women of this nation. And it has a constitution to which we are all subject without exception. And my understanding of that constitution does not give you the right to exclude me from the central executive meetings as you've now done, or any central executive forum. And I said, that having read her letter, it's obvious that the terms of her letter amount to punitive and disciplinary action against me. And as such, her letter contravenes the express terms of the, if not the express terms, the spirit the spirit of the injunction that was granted by the High Court of Antigua and Barbuda, which currently enjoins the General Secretary, Ms. Mary Claire Hurst, personally, the Comrade Leader, the Prime Minister and political leader, Gaston Browne, and also Comrade Lionel Max Hurst as Chairman of that tribunal. And it's no secret, that Comrade Leader Gaston Browne and myself have had disagreements, but I said to the General Secretary in my letter that she should not be a minion to carry out any evil desires that the Prime Minister and the political leader may have. And she's the last General Secretary of the organization. And we are all members of that organization. And I'm still a member of the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party. And I said to her that, whereas she should be using her office as General Secretary to try and bring amicable peace and resolution to these matters between the political leader and myself, she is stoking the fires of division. And I'm not going to stand by and allow the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party to go down this road. It is not a Gaston Browne's Labour Party. He's not a king of the Labour Party. We are all equal. Yes, he's the first among us. And lest we forget that this position is fluid. Comrade Vere Cornwall Bird, our national hero, once held the position. So did Comrade Sir Lester Bird, the late Sir Lester Bird. But none of them ever allowed for the exclusion of others in the party. They've always had disagreements in the Labour Party. But there were others that held or sought to hold Sir Vere Cornwall Bird and Lester Bird accountable. The late Reuben Harris, he had serious disagreements with the late Sir V.C. Bird. V.C. Bird never sought to exclude him from meetings or to expel him from the Labour Party. Mr. Hilroy Humphreys had disagreements.
So is this the first time? Is this the first time in the history of the party that that kind of action, that you recall that kind of action being taken, where without any disciplinary action being determined by a tribunal, that a member is being excluded from fully participating in the activities of the party?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's unprecedented, never heard of, that a member, especially an elected member of the House of Representatives on the Labour Party ticket, is being told that he cannot attend executive meetings and is not allowed to attend and to have his views heard, and to air our dirty linen out in the public, and to be told that he will be escorted by policemen if he attends the meetings. It's totally unheard of. It never happened under V.C. Bird or Lester Bird.
Now, one of the things that the letter that you received said was that the reason was because of hostile lawsuits that you have before the court against the General Secretary and the political leader and Prime Minister. Can you speak a little bit about that?
Well, they're totally aware that I've initiated court proceedings against the General Secretary, the political leader. There's no secret. But I did so, Celestia, I did so because I considered that they all acted totally unlawfully towards me as a member of the party when they sought to bring disciplinary proceedings against me and not the Prime Minister, when the Prime Minister said very nasty things about me, defamatory things on his registration and in other media about me last year. And I don't think that litigation matters can ever injure the party. It is the unlawful actions of the party and the heads that is injurious to the party. But I think, in my humble view, that it's the litigation that holds the party accountable and forces them to adhere to the democratic principles that the Labour Party is founded upon, and natural justice. I mean, after all, each person has the obligation to hold his neighbour and the comrades in the Labour Party accountable for their actions. I mean, I have an obligation as a member, and I'm a senior member of the Labour Party. I've been in the Labour Party before Gaston Browne and many others, and I have an obligation to ensure that my party adheres to the principles, the established principles in a well-established, civilized, democratic society that we live in, you know. And that's why I went to court, and that's what the court is for. It is my constitutional right, as is the constitutional right of all, to go to the court when wrongs are against me as a person, including any other. None of us are above the law. Absolutely none of us. You know, but
Now,
they
now,
come
now
here.
that there seems to have been a new development overnight in your constituency of St. Peter's, some sort of secret meeting with the constituency branch that you were not part of. Can you speak a little bit about that?
Yes, that's very, very unfortunate. I learned of this last night that they had elections of the constituency branch of St. Peter last evening without notifying the sitting member of parliament, who is the Honorable Asot Michael. And I was advised today by legal counsel that according to this revised constitution of the Labour Party, which is the Bible of the Labour Party, that only the member of parliament, who is me, Asot Michael, can call elections, branch elections. And if you are having branch elections, it has to be advertised. You have to have public notice so that all the members of the Labour Party in the constituency has to have an opportunity, who are financial, to come in a public place, and they can make themselves financial, go and pay their dues or bring their dues up to date, have an opportunity to vote for a new executive. That was not done. There was no public notice. There was no advertisement on the media. Absolutely nothing. I was not notified. The existing branch was not notified except for the chairman who is against me and the vice chairman and the gentleman who is running against me, my dear friend and comrade, Warden Turner, my opponent. He carried his supporters, a handful of supporters, very few handful of supporters last evening. And the secretary of the branch, the sitting secretary, Ms. Sanchez Martin, did not know about the meeting. I called her today. She was totally shocked. The treasurer of the branch, Mr. Bernard Percival, did not know about the meeting. The PRO of the branch, Ms. Barbara Carr, did not know about the branch meeting. None of the 15 executive members, because the branch is made up of 15 executive members of the branch, Denton Williams or Mr. Jim Mead, or none of the others knew about the branch elections last evening. So they did it very, very clandestine. And it's really, really unconstitutional and ultra vires the Constitution. And we're going to challenge it. In fact, my lawyers have instructed them today, and Monday morning, or I think maybe tomorrow, we're going to court to get another injunction against them and a declaration that not only the meeting last week Friday at the Central Executive, and what they did was totally illegal and unconstitutional to exclude me from the Central Executive, and all of the resolutions, if any they passed, is null and void. But what they did last evening on the basketball court in Parham in St. Peter's, totally unconstitutional, and it will not stand. So
And
I'm not
and
worried about those things. I mean,
do,
the Prime
do,
Minister and the political leader cannot run this party like if it's a Gaston Browne party. We have rules, we have a constitution, and we have to be guided by these rules and the tenets of this constitution.
And do you think what happened in
I
What
cannot run
happened in St. Peter's
the party.
overnight was a further attempt to unseat you? Because it appears as if you're being treated as if you were expelled from the party, not the cabinet, which is separate. So do you think that meeting in which you or your people who are supportive of you were excluded, is an attempt to unseat your position in the constituency as well, and remove you from the party?
Correct. And the purpose, you're so correct, Sister. And the reason they had that clandestine elections last evening is so that the constituency branch, because in the constitution of the Labour Party, it's the constituency branch which selects the candidates in any election and then sends down the names of whoever they desire to be the representative of the constituency to the central executive, and the central executive makes that determination. So that's the reason they did not notify me, did not notify the constituency or the Labour Party supporters, did not give public notice. So those persons last evening who were handpicked by Mr. Warden Turner, my opponent, would then select him and say, we are selecting Mr. Warden Turner as the representative to represent the constituency of St. Peter, and Asot Michael will not be on the slate. That's the whole purpose of that meeting last evening. But that will not stand up in any court of law. It is totally unconstitutional. It is against the constitution of the Labour Party, and it will not stand the test of time. So I'm not worried about it. Absolutely, I'm not worried about it.
You're not concerned that you can be that the LP would replace you as the candidate for Senate?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I am very confident in the courts, in natural justice, and Gaston Browne and his shenanigans and his minions are not above the law of this country. The law applies to all equally. And I have faith in the courts, and I'm not going to be pushed out of the Labour Party. I'm not going to be pushed out. The people of St. Peter's have overwhelmingly, my dear, voted for me. Nearly 80% of the popular vote. I've received 79.2% of the popular vote last election. And every single election in the last 4 consecutive elections, I received the most popular vote in this country. The most. Gaston Browne only received 60-something% in his constituency. I am not going to be pushed out. Only the people of St. Peter are going to determine if Asot Michael is not a Labour Party candidate. Only Asot Michael. Gaston Browne came into the Labour Party and found me. I have a rich history going back to my grandfather, Vere Cornwall Bird, and my late father, Patrick Michael. He is not going to determine that I am not going to become a member of the Labour Party. He can't determine that. The people of St. Peter will determine that, not Gaston Browne.
And with all of what you have said, what would be your assessment of Prime Minister Gaston Browne's leadership of not just the party but the country and the party? What would be your assessment of his leadership?
Well, let me say this. I supported Gaston Browne for leadership. I supported him against my dear surrogate father, Lester Bird. It's no secret that I did so. At a time when I thought that Lester Bird's health was ailing, when I thought that Lester Bird was not the best person, although that Lester Bird brought me into politics, and I owe a debt of ingratitude for life to Sir Lester Bird. You can see in my office his picture adorns my office. He's my hero, my mentor. But at the time that Gaston Browne came into politics, he embraced me as his brother when seeking to attain leadership. No one else supported Gaston Browne for leadership but myself, and I think Comrade Max Fernandez. We were the only two. And I put all my financial resources behind Gaston Browne, my family financial resources, and more importantly, my political capital that I had in the party. Gaston Browne was not popular in the party when he sought to get leadership of the party. Gotta make this a little bigger. He was not popular in the party. I went constituency by constituency to try and use my political popularity among the constituency branches to get Gaston Browne elected. And we won. We lost the first convention against Lester Bird. And then the second convention, we were able to defeat Lester Bird, my surrogate father. And now, because I've raised questions as to Gaston Browne's wealth, which has only become known since he became Prime Minister, he has taken a public and nasty discourse towards me. And this is very unfortunate. I had a lot of respect for Gaston Browne's leadership of the country when he came in 2014 as Prime Minister, but I must say that I'm extremely disappointed in certain mannerisms and ways and behaviors of how he's dealing with the population of this country now. In fact, just recently in the Parliament, I asked him to tone down his rhetoric in terms of the mandatory vaccinations. Not that I'm against the mandatory vaccinations, I supported it. I joined with him and the cabinet in supporting it. But I said, you cannot be speaking down to people, cursing them on Facebook like Donald Trump. You have to do it in a loving way, in a kind way, in a gentle way, in a statesman way. I called on him to be more statesman-like. I told him you cannot be going on your Facebook page, you're Prime Minister of all, not just the Labour Party, you're Prime Minister of the UPP. You have to be more statesman, Mr. Prime Minister. He took me on personally. He got up at the end of Parliament and took me on personally and made some very nasty, derogatory statements about me when he was passing the CDB resolution to borrow 25 million US dollars. So, I don't want to say anything derogatory about the Prime Minister. I mean, I still have certain respect for him, but I will just say that I'm extremely disappointed in certain actions and in certain behaviors of how he conduct himself. In fact, even on certain ways of how he treats and with other colleague prime ministers, like how he dealt with colleague Mia Mottley and Ralph Gonzalez and other prime ministers under Lee Atish. I think he has to be more statesman-like. I even said to him in Parliament, you are the chairman, the sitting chairman of Carrick. You have to rise above the fray. It's not every criticism, every person that demonizes you on Facebook and on social media that you have to answer 3 o'clock in the morning. I mean, he's a very intellectual prime minister. He's a bright person. He has great potential. He's great at finance. Utilize those skills that God gave you and don't level down. Don't bring the Prime Minister's office, the office of Prime Minister, into disrepute. You always have to rise above that. You're not on a political platform. It's not election time.
No, you said that one of the things you said was that you were close to Gaston Browne. You brought him into he didn't just meet you in the Labour Party. You brought him into the Labour Party. Do you regret, because of where you are now, not just with what appears to be the personal animosity between the two of you, but also just with him appearing to try to also shake your position in the party? Do you regret bringing him in, or are you still comfortable
No,
with that decision you made?
no, I have no regrets bringing him in. I thought at the time I made the right decision, but politics is fluid. Things change, human beings change, and that's the mantra of politics. Human beings are human beings. Um, to say I'm not disappointed in him, I am disappointed. I am very hurt. I'm extremely hurt. I feel betrayed. Feel extremely betrayed because it's not just about politics. We were extremely, extremely, extremely close friends and brothers. I mean, I'm the godfather of his son, Prince, and I feel very betrayed by him, a sense of deep betrayal. But I don't have any regrets bringing him in. He have done a lot of good for the country as Prime Minister in his first few years. In terms of Abbey Bank and in terms of the Western Oil Company and rescuing it and so forth. So I won't say he has made all bad decisions. So I have no regrets bringing him into the party. Yes, he wants to expel me now, but it's not going to happen easily. I'm going to fight,
Is,
and I'm a
is,
fighter.
is there
And
any,
I know
is,
the people, not only if, sorry, Celestial, not only of my constituency. I have the support of my constituency overwhelmingly. I'm going to win that constituency for the Labour Party. And I'm telling you, I have a lot of support in this country. And I have God on my side. And once you have God on your side and you have faith, and you know you're doing the right thing, all the money that Gaston Browne has, all the power that he has, I'm telling you, I am going to come out victorious. I don't need to be in politics. I've been in politics since I was 26 years old. I'm 51, going to be 52. I can call today. You know, it's a difficult decision for me, but I love politics. I love the people of St. Peter who have been loyal and good to me over the years. I also love the family of the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party. And I cannot contemplate, Celestial, not being a member of the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party. Because I've always loved family, I've grown up in a family, and I know the meaning of family life and comradeship and true comradeship. Maybe the Prime Minister does not understand the true meaning of comradeship. So, let us not even talk about leaving the family of Labour. Let us contemplate.
But so let's talk about whether or not you would support someone else for leader of the party. Do you feel like you can, the way you put your energy and your finances behind a change of leadership when you felt that was required? Do you feel that time has come again, and do you still have that kind of fight in you to make a change at the top of the party?
The positions of leadership is open to every member of the party. Let us make that elusively clear. I once, as I said, supported Gaston Browne, who came from the outside to join the party. And he didn't want to come in. Truth be told, he did not want to join Lester Bird. He said Lester Bird was corrupt in the Labour Party when he was at Swiss American Bank. And I had to convince him, along with other comrades, to come and join the Labour Party, which I said he eventually challenged my mentor and surrogate father, Lester Bird, for leadership. I supported him because I believe at the time he was right for the country. But if, Celestra, in my view, that the time has come for the country and the party, and the circumstances are that it is in the best interest that a new leader will be served, I will support that person. It's not about who it is for leadership. It's about what is best for the party, what is best, and what is in the interest of the nation. That's all I will say on this.
I was about to ask you if you believe that time has come for a change of leadership.
I don't want to say any more this time, Celestra. You're tying me up now.
I want to thank you so much for joining me on The Narrative, Asot Michael, MP for St. Peter's, Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party. It's been good to have you on. Thank you, sir.
It has been a pleasure and an honor and a privilege, and I want to thank you very, very much, and I hope that you will engage me on future endeavors and other topics in my political career. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. This is The Narrative. I'm your storyteller, Callistra Farrier. More when we come back.